Hey, this is Charlie.
This is JR.
Host of Speaking the Facts with Charlie and JR. Broadcasting live each week on Wednesday at 7 p.m. from Fishbowl Studios.
Log on to hear us speaking the facts on current events, family, and finances.
So be sure to log on each week on Wednesday at 7 p.m. to catch Speaking the Facts with Charlie and JR.
Tune in.
Hey.
What's up, family? We are back. This is Speaking the Facts with Charlie and JR. Of course, I am JR, and over there on the other side is my co-host and beautiful daughter, Charlie. How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How you doing?
Yeah, I am above ground, so it is a good day. You are
We're
looking.
to talk about that. Above ground is a
Yes.
good day. We are upright. We
That's
are
right.
vertical.
That's right. That's
All
right.
day, every day.
That's right. You know, I'm standing on the dirt, and the dirt's not laying on me, so
Amen.
it's all good.
Yeah.
I still receive my flowers. No.
That's
That's that
right.
old saying. Those young kids don't know nothing.
Exactly.
No, they don't know nothing about
I
that,
used to
you
think
know.
it was morbid. I'm like, why does he say it's a
Mm-mm.
good day? But I'm just
Yeah.
off.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
I used
have
to
a
say,
big
I'm
voice.
like,
Cool.
why does he say? I'm like, this is morbid, but it makes sense when you get older. You're
Yep.
like, okay,
Oh, see,
I'm above ground.
See, she slipped. Every show she slips at least one old joke in. So that was the
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
old.
No, it becomes a norm because the
No,
older
no,
you
yeah.
get,
See, I-
those
Yeah.
things that
I
your
forgot
parents
that.
used to say, now they become the norm, right?
That's
I'm
right.
gonna have to sit here like
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and
I know,
on today's show we know.
Yeah, look at maybe Rachel might throw an old joke in.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Well, I understood the one he said. You know, because I use that, right?
Yeah, you know.
I'm on, or the one is I'm on this side, not the other side, right?
Right.
It's a
There you
good
go.
day when I'm on this side,
that's
right?
right.
No, I'm gonna
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to keep you around, Rachel. They said defend off the attack.
Yeah. See,
Let me acknowledge our alter egos, the Fly Guy and the Fly Girls. I am don't call it a comeback because I've been fly.
Okay,
He's
then.
always
All
the
right,
fly
then.
guy.
He always been fly.
That's
Right,
right.
there.
And
Right
over
there.
there is Fly Money, and out there
Okay.
Money.
out there producing things is Kim, aka This Shit's Fly. What's up, Kim?
Hey, Kim.
Oh,
we just got a
quiet
hey.
today.
Yeah,
Last
we got
couple
a
weeks, she
hey.
was-
I know. Can we get a hey yo? You know,
know?
yo.
Um,
She said she's working.
She's working. She's working. And I'm sorry, I forgot your name. So that's been rude of me. Chance. Okay, I don't know how I could forget Chance, but we got Chance
because
over
you're
there on the
little
knobs
old.
and faders. How you doing, Chance? You know, and we have a very special guest, and I'm going to let the younger part of our family,
Yes.
the
So-
younger part of our family, introduce our guest.
So
All right, then.
our guest is super special. We met working out.
Yes.
So we met, you know, my saying is health is wealth, and that's something
Mhm.
she's passionate
That's right.
about. And she exudes that, you know, personally and professionally.
Mhm.
She's a woman's empowerment, women business owner. You know, you
Mhm.
really work to help women. You're an
Absolutely.
influencer, you know, you're an author. You got all these things behind you,
Yes.
you know. So I'm just so glad that I've called you and begged you to come on the show, right? Did I
No, you're just like, hey, come. Like Charlotte, you support me. It's like I'm gonna come
Yeah.
whenever she offers. So here I am.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You know.
And so we were talking, we said, and this is a conversation, you know,
mhm.
it's not anything.
Tell them her name. You gave
okay.
all the
Okay. Well,
accolades, but yeah.
okay, well, come on. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. I know her name, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, but tell
All
her her name.
Well, here I'll give it to
She
you.
said,
I
I
said
know her
Rachel.
name.
Yeah.
Well, hey, lovely souls.
Rachel
my
Ray.
name is Rachel Dickens, aka Rachel Ray. That is what I go by, Rachel Ray. It's what my family and friends call me. And those
Yeah.
close to me, Rachel Ray is what it is, and you can call me that as well. So I am happy to be here. So thank you guys for
Mhm.
inviting me here today. I'm excited. This is a lovely set. So I'm excited about the conversation we're gonna have, and excited about sharing with the people. So yeah, let's get it started.
Yeah, let's get it started.
See, that was easy.
after
Yeah.
Charlie had to beg you to come.
Can you
huh?
hear me okay, Kim? Okay, cool. I don't know if I need to. Yeah, I'm like, I know I have a big voice.
For the
Yeah.
people in the back, you got it. Yeah. But so we want to just have a conversation with you
Yes.
because you do so much. There's not
Right.
there's not anything that you don't have your hands in. And then you're so big on providing information.
Correct.
Like y'all, like last week and the week before, like I learned about Fort Worth Creates. Had not
Yes.
really experienced Fort Worth until I met you.
Mm.
You brought me to Fort Worth several times and introduced me to people and
Yes.
business and concepts. So share like, you know, kind of a little bit about you as far as your family, like kids, all
Absolutely.
that good stuff. And then kind of what got you on this path.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, you've introduced me to the southern side, right? So I'm kind of new to this side that I'm on.
Right.
So I'm typically still have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You guys know I've relocated recently out to the south,
Yes.
as my daughter tells
Welcome
me.
to the dark side.
She says, you're in the far south. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just new to me. So I'm
Right.
excited. We just built a home out here. So we're going to be here for a while because we have no equity.
Right.
So with that being
She's
said,
locked in.
yeah. So with that being said, so my most recent endeavor as my newest venture, which is Women Who Collab, right? So I am the founder of Women Who Collab. So I participate in a lot of different women groups. I love participating with different women, love being able to learn from them.
Yes.
I think it just started with me being in a family with all boys.
Mhm.
So I didn't have any sisters, right? So as I grew up, I thought, man, I want to have my own girl gang. I want to be able to collab with other women, create with other women, right? And
Right.
connect with other women,
Exactly.
right?
So does it mean you can hoop?
I cannot do all that, right? But I did play sports only because I was challenged, right? My brothers are all very athletic, and I really didn't have that gene. I had the educational gene, I'd say.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Gotcha.
You know,
That's
I'll leave
fair.
it at that.
Oh, there you go. There you
So
go.
you was not a tomboy. You was not a tomboy unless you was challenged to be one.
Correct. No, my dad limited a lot of things I could and could not do, right? My
Mhm.
brothers watched over me. And so they did certain things. I think I'm definitely telling my age, right? Because certain things my dad be like, no, you do this, they do that. So,
Right. Yeah.
so no,
gen-
no,
the
no.
generational.
Come on, in the
Yeah.
water's fine. She tells my age every show.
Exactly. How
Yeah, I'm very
old
proud.
are
Yeah,
you?
absolutely.
How
very
old are
proud
you?
of the age
Yeah.
and blessed to still be on this side.
Right. Well,
There
you
you
know what?
go.
And I still think those things are still here as far as raising children,
Mhm.
where there's things that are okay for boys
Mhm.
and there are things that are, not okay for girls or vice versa,
Mhm.
unless that child has no sex. What do you call those kids where the parents say they're not going to give them a sex?
Oh, gender something. I
Non-gender specific. Yeah. And so then maybe it's all
Yeah.
fair game. But, from where, you were the same way with us. There were certain things that the girls could not do.
Right.
And there's
Yeah.
things the boys could not do.
right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Without fear of retribution.
Right.
Absolutely. There it is. Yeah.
You cannot. So then you grew up with nothing but boys.
Correct.
So how did you kind of get your start on this career path? Was it something that you fell into?
So I have an HR consulting background. So my gift is always being to support. I love being able to support people and see them venture from point A to point B to point C. And so I love being able to watch people grow. So I have a passion to help people grow. So it started with that. When I graduated college, I worked in HR. I was an HR director for a long time. And
I did
then
the same thing.
Yeah, HR,
I was in HR. I was an HR
absolutely.
director.
So love that. So you know how that is.
Yes.
Because you're the one that's in the background, not really getting like a lot of accolades, and you're watching people grow. So you have to be okay with that. And that's got to be your gift,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
Now I have to ask. When people saw you coming, did they run like you were a can of Raid? I mean,
HR's here.
Absolutely. But eventually you work hard to change that because we're much more than that. That was
Yeah.
always my slogan, right? I'm much more than a corrective action. I'm much more than you
Like
getting in
that.
trouble.
Right.
So I worked really hard to not necessarily be their friend, right? Because I worked in HR and I always thought we were better. I felt like you had to be on a whole different level, right? You couldn't be on the same level with them. You could not.
right.
Right.
You couldn't.
So
you couldn't.
right. So
Yeah.
So I always felt like we had to be somewhat better. But yeah, sometimes they would run.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
noticed that when I would especially when I would travel, because the company I worked for had airport terminals around the country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when I would, go to Chicago, somewhere where I wasn't home base, at home base, it didn't happen so bad because they knew me. But when I would go to other places and I would walk into a warehouse, I would just kind of see them go.
Oh, just scatter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes the HR person. Don't say
Who's
anything to
getting
me.
fired today? So,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. But you have to work hard to change that.
I hate that we have that, that concept when people see us, but you have to change that because we're much more than that, right?
Yes.
We're training them, we're giving them education opportunities, teach them
Yeah.
how to go ask for that money. So those
Right.
are things
Right.
we have to teach them.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
I love that. So that's good that y'all had that commonality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So then, Dad, did you had another question? Did you not?
No. I was.
Okay.
turning
You gonna
back
let?
over.
Okay. I'm
Yes.
looking. I love it. I get that right. So now, with you helping women and liking to see, your growth in yourself,
Mhm.
obviously, and growth from your family and friends, and then you are a girl's girl. That's something
Yes.
that you've said a long time. So you brought your cousin sisters along with you.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's important to share.
Absolutely. So with me, I do come from a very large family, right? So one of the things that I have been really
Hey, Ursula, if you watching. No.
Hey, yeah. One of the things
We
I've been
fight over her.
Yeah, all the time. One of the things I've been really intentional about is that making sure that I'm connecting from my left or to my right.
Mhm.
And so when I started being very intentional about that,
Mhm.
and I looked to my left and to my right, I realized that I didn't really have to go far to find someone that had a skill set that I needed. If they
Right.
didn't have the skill set, we'd work on it, we'd get it together, right? That's what HR
Right.
me, right?
Right.
And so when doing that and when building a business, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, who do you trust more of these people? Because for me, loyalty is key.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when I started building that business, I needed to have people with me that I trusted. And
Right.
that's how I started, with people that were very close to me
Mhm.
and that I knew that had kind of the same work ethic as me and they were
Right.
willing to get it.
Gotcha.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
And see, it's so important because I've met her cousin sisters. So a
Mhm.
lot of people, they're
Yeah.
her cousins, but they're her sisters.
Yeah.
And coming from Odessa.
That's correct. West
And so-
Texas.
Yeah, there you go. And so, but still, everyone still is still a girl's girl. Everybody's
Mhm.
still working together. The event, the mid-year reset that I went to with you last week was amazing. You know, really taking time to say, you know, your wins, you know,
Absolutely.
and that has nothing to do with, you know, sex, right? Man or woman. Like everybody needs to kind of sit back and say, these
Mhm.
are my wins for this year so far.
Mhm.
So that if you have a bad day, you can go back and say, hey, I had this win, I had this one, I had this win, you know. So like probably like one of the things I didn't write down that day, but I thought about it when I left. I was like, I feel like one of my biggest, you know, wins this year was just saying, you know what, Charmaine, stay in the present. You know,
Absolutely. Yes.
you know, just stay in the present, and it's going to relieve you from a lot of the stresses. Just kind of
Mhm.
just stay right here because I need to be focusing on my future. And I think I sent that
Mhm.
out to the family in a,
Yes,
in
you
a
did.
family message.
Yeah.
What did I say? Look,
Yeah.
that was good for yesterday. But I was like, y'all, but basically what I was saying to you guys was that if you can worry about the past, and you can put that same worry into your future
Mhm.
and make your future bright.
Right. And I'll even chime in and just go to the verse that says, be anxious for nothing, but in prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, make your requests known.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So,
Yes.
so because worrying doesn't do
Mhm.
anything but make you
Mhm.
sick.
That's
Mhm.
right.
It doesn't solve the
Mhm.
issue. And that's hard to remember when you're in the
The
heat
thick
of the
it.
moment.
That's right.
It is. It's hard to
Yes.
remember when you're in the heat of the moment.
Absolutely.
But it helps to have knowledge of self when you're at peace.
Mhm.
That's
Because
right.
then you can draw on something. If
Mhm.
you don't have knowledge of self and who you are, where you're going, you know, what you feel your purpose is, then in the heat of the moment, things do get, you know, get
Right.
stretched out so
Yeah,
far that
absolutely.
you can't pull them back sometimes. So
And you have to
yeah.
remember Ephesians 3:20. God can give you even more than you can even think or even ask for. So you gotta keep that faith.
Yeah.
And remember that if it's you ask
Mhm.
for it, it's for you. It's gonna be good.
Absolutely.
I need
Oh,
Look at you.
Hey,
Yes.
I need
Yes.
some on that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I
you
like
got
that.
a verse that you want to share?
No, but, no, I was about to say this with him though. That I like what you said about, I think you said something about knowing where you're going to go.
Yeah.
But all that takes work. And that's some of the things that we teach at Women Who Collab. And just backing up a little bit. One of the things that's unique about Women Who Collab is that when we do workshops, we're just not like a one-stop shop.
Right.
For us, our workshops throughout the year are usually building on something, right?
Right.
So here we just did a mid-year reset workshop, right? So
Mhm.
you may have been new to the group and you jumped in, which is great because we're always welcoming new women and our group is growing exponentially. However, it starts with us in February, right? We do our vision boards, right?
Mhm.
We do work on that. And so
Right.
every workshop we do throughout the year will be building on that. And that's what's unique about what we do and what we provide and our educational things that we do.
Right.
So
That's huge.
So in these in your workshops, do you have like set, you know, curriculum that you use, or do you how do they work?
So you know the HR person in me is going to
Yeah,
want
it's-
something
it's
structured.
very
right?
structured.
Yes,
So
I was
and,
like-
and that's one of my things I'm working to be less structured, right? Because my husband's he can just go. But I'm a very structured type person, right? And I'm working on, we'll probably be working on that for the rest of my life to be a little less structured. And that's a tough one for me. So as far as my workshops, yes, they are themed. They have
There are
a
learning labs.
curriculum.
That's that word we can't learning labs.
Sometimes there's pre-work, sometimes there's post-work. And then after we do those workshops, we continue that conversation. Because that, again, is what makes us unique. With Women Who Collab, our job was to fill that gap, right?
Mhm.
I think that women, we are part of all these different groups, whether for social, networking, or maybe just to gather, right?
Mhm.
And we wanted to bring these women together. And when we do a workshop, we want to make sure that you're going to get it pre and post. And so
Okay.
we continue that conversation.
Okay. I'm very impressed, and I'm kind of like, you know, Judge Joe Brown. You know, I you know, I support womanhood. I stand for manhood, but I support womanhood. You know, because if I'm going to be the best me, you got to
Right.
be the best you.
Absolutely,
You know.
absolutely, absolutely.
Judge
Yeah.
Joe Brown, I like the title.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, absolutely.
So if somebody wants to, it's mid-year, but like you said, it's constantly building.
Mhm.
So if someone wanted to find out more about Women Who Collab or reach out to you, how do they do that?
So you can actually follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Women Who Collab, right? So we have those Facebook groups and an Instagram page. And we also have a private Facebook group, and that's where it really goes down. And we share
Am I part
really,
of that?
I think, I'm not really sure. We'll
We
make
have
sure
to
you are.
make sure, because
So-
like I've been going. I need to be on the private page.
Absolutely. Because then we really share. And again, that's a safe space. We
Okay.
want to make sure we have a safe space for these women to create, connect, and collaborate.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And our meeting last week, what I really enjoyed was like some of the wins were failures
Mhm.
for the ladies.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, where it's
Absolutely.
like, hey, I tried to do this, I didn't make it, but even though I didn't make it, this is the experience that I got out of it. And so it was not a pity party, you know.
Absolutely.
And so, and I love that. I was like, oh wow, like one of the ladies who was going to be a stylist for someone and thought she had this job, planned
Yes.
everything. I think even quit a job
Yes.
and to prepare for this, and then
Yes.
they pulled the rug out from her. But then it worked out anyway. So
Mhm.
you know, it's just like, okay, wow, you know, really learning how. And I want to say it's a choice to look at the glass as always half full.
Absolutely.
You know,
yes.
You know, we can, but you know, just to be hearing all the different things, you know, and just again to be in that safe space for
Mhm.
people to say, hey, this didn't quite work out, but I got this from
Right.
it. I love that.
You have to get good at making lemonade, because
Right.
life's gonna throw you lemons. So you just gotta you just gotta be sitting there
Right.
with the
Is it gonna be
you know,
real
with, you know,
sugar,
with,
stevia?
you know, is it
Right.
gonna, you know,
Right.
do I like my lemonade sweet? Do I
Right.
like it a little more tart? Do I like raspberry lemonade?
Absolutely.
But you got to get good at making lemonade, because life's gonna throw you the lemons. And when you said that the woman saw that to do this, I'm a Trekkie and I'm a Star Wars guy,
Mhm.
but when you said that, Yoda popped into my head when he told Luke Skywalker, because he was trying to get the ship out of the water, remember?
Mhm.
And he couldn't get it out. And he said, I tried. He said, no, there is no try.
Mhm.
There is do or not do. There is no try.
Right.
But that's true. I mean,
Right.
because if you are doing something, then there's going to be some evidence of it.
That's
you know,
right.
trying actually allows us not to do.
Mhm.
So, you know what I'm saying? Because I tried. Well, okay, but you
Try
know,
harder.
did you? You know, how hard? Yeah. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's
So,
a good point.
yeah. So, you know, if you do, even if you do a little, you know, I can put a grain of sand on this table and you won't see it. But if I
Mhm.
do keep doing it, pretty soon,
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
You'll see
you
it.
know, the evidence of what I've been doing will, you know,
Right.
will manifest itself. So yeah, you know, just I'm impressed that you are a doer
Oh, absolutely.
and that you have
Is there any
She's
other
a
way?
She's a busy doer.
no, there isn't any other way for those who might be asking that question to be answered. No, there isn't any other way.
Yeah.
But for those who but life does knock some of us down, and I remember a pastor saying once, he said he loved new Christians. He said except for one thing, and I was like, oh. He said because when they come in, they're
Uh-huh.
gung ho and they
Uh-huh.
you know, and they're ready to go and they're ready to go out there and fight the world. And he said, but then they get knocked down. He said,
Mhm.
and some of them never get up
Mhm.
Right.
from that one time being knocked down.
Mhm.
And so it's
Right.
about understanding that anything worth having, you have to fight for
Absolutely.
anything,
Absolutely.
you know.
Right.
And so, you know, you got to be willing to. It's like every week I have to come in here and fight off the old.
I fight off the old jokes. I know, because I may have an old joke or two. So then, So I think it's important that with your group, you know, that you are a support system for not just self-employed individuals, but also employees as well, because one of the ladies in the group is an employee, and she talked about the things that she wanted to do within the company.
Absolutely.
Because she wanted to help the people within the company grow. So that's another thing that you offer too. I mean, if a person is within a company, you don't have to feel like you're stuck in your cubicle. If you have something to give, you can definitely give it, especially if it's going to make that environment better.
Absolutely.
And that was another thing that came out. I was like, oh, that is so awesome, you know?
So absolutely what you said, Women Who Collab is for women in different career phases, right? Not everyone wants to own their own business.
Right.
Because that's a lot of work, a lot of grind.
It ain't for the weak.
It's not for the weak. We are for women in different phases of life.
Right.
If you're working for a company, that's great. We still have resources for that. If you want to start a business, we have resources for that. If you're a stay-at-home mom, we have resources for that. Again, we're also all about that. People will just see me and like, no, Women Who Collab is about everybody, right? I mean, I love us coming from a town with 3% of people that look like me. And when I came out to the city and I saw so many of us, I'm like, oh my God.
Where y'all been?
I told you that was exactly
Look at Children of the Corn.
A quick funny story. It was like, oh my God.
Chance knows that.
Texas. I grew up in a town from West Texas. 3% of people that look like me. So imagine what that does to me when my parents dropped me to college out of Newark, Texas. Right? I go from 3% to what is it, like 90%?
Yeah.
And so I'm like in culture shock. So I say all to say is I love us, but also I've learned to also how to cross the little person. But do it with confidence, especially now at this age, right? Because I know we have to cross collab.
Exactly.
And so that's the goal of mine as well.
And confidence is not arrogance. You know, I saw somebody's post. I was like, I love that, you know, because to be sure of yourself and be sure of your capabilities and what it is that you're doing, you know, that's fine. That's a benefit. You know, and so, but some people may look at it, you know, a different way.
Those who that if you have a light, and your light is bright, and you walk into a room or an area, and people are uncomfortable by the brightness of your light, and you turn your light down, they're not going to turn theirs up to bring the light back up. You just have a room full of dim lights, and so I just want to encourage everyone: never turn down your light. If your light is too bright, let them put on sunglasses. Let them go to a darker room.
I totally agree.
But we have to be who we are and celebrate that.
Absolutely.
You know, without hesitation, celebrate that.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things that held me back for so many years, is that it was drummed into my head that I wasn't worthy, and I carried that around. You know, and it's you know, our belief systems are much more powerful than we give them credit for most of the time.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
everything, our decisions, everything we do is based on a thought that we have held on to as true. You know, so we have to learn to reject things that would diminish us. You know, and learn to guard. You know, like Paul said in the Bible, guard your hearts and your minds.
Absolutely.
You know, we have to learn to reject the thing that would diminish us.
Correct.
And I always like to think of it as this, right? For me, confidence is work, right? It's like when I'm with a consultant, I'm like, if you're prepared, right, that shows your confidence, right?
Right. Yeah.
So to me, arrogance is a false illusion. Usually you're very arrogant and more arrogant when you know you're trying to elude something, right? So when I show up with my confidence, it's usually because I've done the work.
Right.
Yes.
Hello. And it shows.
Right.
Yeah.
So are confident, you do the work, you're going to show up more confident.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it's nice. Like I met with a real estate group today, and I had my folders. I had everything put together, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, you like have it all put together."
Absolutely.
And I was like, "Well, yeah, because I have a presentation, you know."
Absolutely.
But it made me feel good. I was like, you know,
Absolutely.
because it's everything. And, I think that presentations don't require 90 things. You just have to present the things that are good. So if
Mhm.
your topic is one good thing, then you knock that one good thing out the park,
Mhm.
So I think sometimes people get anxiety about being on the spotlight,
yes.
and they don't have to necessarily have that.
Yeah.
And let me slide this in there. We also have presentations on that, guys. Confidence
Oh,
101.
We do.
Presentation 101. So women who collab, if you guys are struggling with your confidence, let me slide that sales
Well,
pitch in
see,
there.
look at there you
So
go.
make sure you're following Women Who Collab, because those are workshops we do, and a couple of those are going to be coming up. So you'll just have to follow us, and you'll know what's coming up next.
Love it. And
So sorry to jump in.
Yeah,
there.
but that's
Well,
good.
no,
throw that in there
no,
real
I-
quick. Hey, we have
And-
that.
And we did. I'm like y'all. I'm new, but I'm like I'm vested. I'm all in. So we went
Absolutely.
to a Texas Her event
Absolutely.
last week, and again, it's just women.
Mhm.
Again from all walks. And one of the ladies that we met that I thought was awesome was a stay-at-home mom. Remember that
Absolutely.
lady? She was a
Yes.
stay-at-home mom and had been a stay-at-home mom for 27
Mhm.
years, and she heard about the group and was like, you know what,
Absolutely.
let me get out, let me figure out what's next for me. So
Mhm.
it's important to, not sit at home alone to figure out what's next for you when you can collaborate with like-minded individuals to kind of get some ideas. Dad, do you want to open up a Bros Who Collab? Are you looking at
Well, I was going to ask you, did your husband have a men who collab?
Here's
I
the
see
thing,
Dad's
though.
brain going.
Here's the thing, though. Like I say to my husband, I think men can get out every day of the week,
Right.
but women usually do not. And so when we get out, we have to be able to accomplish multiple things. Well, let me say my husband, like he'll be like, if things are done and he's free, he'll be like, hey, can I go? You can go. Right. But
Right.
women, we're like, okay, if I went out Monday, I probably can't go out to next week. Or so we have all these things going in our head.
Look at Kim
And then
is
we have
like-
to do multiple things. We have to be able to connect, network, eat, and do a whole bunch of things at one event. And that's what we try to do when we are having
Right.
these events.
So why the chasm between I'm done, can I go, like you said, your husband, and women being is it because you're so much more detail oriented that you feel like you have 1,000 things to do and you don't have time to go out? Is that-
Absolutely. It's just the structure and the way my mind works, right?
Okay.
So in him, his checklist is done and mine is like it's still going, right? And so that's just the way we are. I just think we're wired that way.
Yeah.
But I feel that even if a man has went out like today, they'll still say if they're able, they'll still go out the next day if it's okay, within the family, they've done everything. But with us, we'll be like, well, I just went out yesterday, drop it.
Exactly. And that's true.
That's usually how we
I'm guilty of
I
that.
can
I'm
be
like,
wrong.
oh no, you're not, because I've done that. I'm like, oh well, Charmaine, you went out Monday and Tuesday. You could really like I'm big on growing, and I feel like I love going. Trey is 18. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I can go out all the
Oh, empty
time.
nesting.
But yeah, but now I'm like, okay, I need to focus on my continuing education. Like I'm putting more things on my plate versus taking. So yeah, it's just being
that.
wired
So
that
she
that
has to do something to do so she needs a learning opportunity,
I,
right?
I
So
feel that's
if
what
we're
I
doing
need,
something,
and
we have to be able to be learning,
yeah.
eating, or networking. Those are usually the three main things we've got to be doing. Whereas
Okay.
on the
Chance,
flip
what do you
side
feel
of
like?
that,
You agree?
I think if I call my husband right now, who has some free time, like he's just relaxed. They're just
Yeah.
BSing.
Yeah, and that's
I
that
like
was
that.
actually
You know what
became-
BS stands for? Belief systems.
Absolutely.
but that actually became my downfall. I can be such a recluse that I can go home. The world can go away. So I have to give my daughter and co-host credit, because this podcast exists because I was at work and I was, but God works that way. It was like you got something I got work for you to do, and if you're not going to do it, then I'm gonna get somebody that's gonna make you do it. So she calls me on the phone, and I'm at work, and she said, "What you doing, Dad?" I said, "Well, I'm working, but I can talk." And she says, "Well, we're gonna do a podcast." I said, "Okay, when?" She said, "Right now." and
I had Liz freshly set up StreamYard. I'm like, we're putting this baby to work.
Let's go
Yep.
for it.
So so it
Plug
used
for
to-
StreamYard if y'all
it
watching.
used to be Speaking the Facts in 15. It was a 15-minute podcast.
Mhm.
It was 15-ish.
Yeah, 15-ish.
We can't get away from the ish, can we?
No, we cannot. Everything is ish. And I don't know if it's because, we blackish. No, we just roll with the ish.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's cool. That's great.
But yeah, she called and said, let's do this podcast, and we did one, and it kind of lit a new fire
Oh,
under me,
great.
and from there, it has progressed to the point where now we're sitting here, we're in our show, and we're sitting here, and so and I'll encourage parents, don't be so proud that you can't or won't learn anything from your children.
Absolutely.
There, in fact, again, I'm a movie guy, but the first big screen Superman movie that Christopher Reeve did, when he found Krypton and found the Fortress of Solitude and all that, and his dad shows up on the in the ice or what,
Cool.
and his dad told him, he said, the son becomes the father and the father the son. So that means that if you've raised your kids right at all, they should be able to teach you something at some point.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I am proud to say that I am learning today from all my children. I am, and that is turning me.
Papa was a rose.
Yeah, if you are a parent, your kids will humble you.
Yeah.
Especially if you are a parent of a daughter, you will have to learn something.
Yes.
Your change of thought process will be challenged.
Yes.
Yes.
And it has been, but it has been watching her grow. And I had two choices. I could cover my eyes and not watch, or I could watch and be moved by it.
Absolutely.
So and so again, I commend you
Thank
for.
you.
Yeah.
For leaving
Cool.
that.
I love that.
Thank you. It was cool.
that.
Yeah.
And I love that you just went with it, right?
Yeah.
I think when I see women starting businesses, they're like, well, I got to get this, I got to get this, and I got to do this. I literally had a meeting with a client on Monday, and I sit there and I listen to her. I'm like, well, I mean, it's ready. Let's roll it out. She's, well, no, I got to do these things. I was like, no, let me encourage you. If you are starting something, that don't wait, just roll it out, right? And learn on the job.
Yeah.
Learn on the job.
That's right.
Like, right.
That's the best advice.
I had a meeting with a lady that runs, she's part of this company. And as I'm sitting there with her and she's telling me, and this is a very known company, how they just raised like lots of money.
Mhm.
And then in between our conversation, she mentions, we really don't even know what we're doing. And I'm like, that's food for thought for me. Knowing that you're with this company and you guys just raised 6 figures
Right.
and in a platform to raise money. And for her to say that, so I always try to encourage people, it's okay if we learn on the job. I think sometimes we let fear hold us back.
We do.
And we'll fix it as we go.
Well, as children, we're groomed to be embarrassed by our failures. You fall down, and the kids are laughing at you because you fall, or you get on roller skates and you fall and everybody laughs, or you know what I'm saying. So we're kind of not knowing what we're doing to each other. We're kind of groomed to laugh at failure. So then we become afraid to fail.
Right.
But when you become afraid to fail, you become afraid to do.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And so and again, I have fallen a lot. We've discussed a lot of my faux pas on this podcast.
We all have them, yes.
But it is the Women Who Collab do a lot of that, talking about releasing
Absolutely.
things that hold us down.
Right. Releasing your limiting beliefs. Right.
There you go. Exactly.
And that's also a workshop we have.
There's lots of
But
workshops.
speaking about you guys talking about your failures, that's kind of what that mid-year reset is for, right? Because we want to jump out in front of those. So when we do our mid-year resets, right, they're typically a follow-up from our February vision board workshops. We usually do a lot of those in February. We do pre-work, and February we get ready for our vision boards. Then mid-year we come in here and we look at it and we say, hey, where are we at on our goals, right? And it's okay if we have not quite accomplished everything we have. The idea is to regroup, right, and then put some actions behind what you're going to do to get back on.
And the word that comes to mind that we use at our mid-year reset was your intent. What is your intent? Because if you can map out what your intent is, then that's all right.
She landed at
I
your
love that.
I know,
That is correct.
yes. And so and so kind of going back to not being afraid is just jumping into it. Normally I don't have a problem jumping in and starting anything. People be like, whoa, hold on a second. Cause I'd be like, let's just do it, because I love learning as I go along.
like that
it's
too.
exciting.
It is.
I don't that way I'm not bored. I guess that makes sense. I'm not bored. I mean, I haven't figured it all out to where I feel like people who really try to make sure they have everything covered will cancel it out. They're like, okay, this is not going to work. So one of the things I've always lived by is that it may be old to somebody else. It could be old to me, but it's new to someone else. So I always remember that whatever I'm working on, it's new to somebody. And it's probably new because it's coming from me. They probably heard it from plenty of other people, but because I'm saying it's new from Charlamagne. So and that's kind of how business is. We're all recreating the same thing, new hair gel, new hair ideas, all this, nothing gets old but clothes. And they say those come back into style.
Oh, so Pops, I know you got a saying for this one, right?
Oh, I got
what's one of them? Ain't nothing new up on the sun or something like that. I know you got something for this.
Well, I was just thinking that, there's a lot of different ways to say the same thing.
There you go.
And I'll just give you a couple of examples. One is from a song I quote all the time. I think I quoted a little bit of it earlier, but it says, every thought felt as true or allowed to be accepted as true by the conscious mind takes root in the subconscious, blossoming sooner or later into an act that bears its own fruit.
Right.
Good thoughts bring forth a good fruit.
Right.
Bullshit thoughts rot your meat.
Absolutely.
And so and that is from Good Thoughts Bad Thoughts by Funkadelic.
Okay.
So
Chance had never heard about Funkadelic. You have? Okay.
Chance, you want Funkadelic, Chance?
Okay. All right. We got you.
He said he's well-rounded.
He said he's well-rounded.
The Eagles?
But then in the book Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, he has a formula. He says T plus F to A equals results. So now the T are thoughts.
I like that.
So thoughts generate feelings. Feelings generate actions that give you results.
Right.
So if you are thinking positive thoughts, you will generate positive feelings.
That's right.
That will initiate positive action.
That's right.
That will give you a positive result, or at least one you can live with.
Right.
Like you said, it's not always going to come out the way you want, but if you put the intent, I'll use that word.
That's
intent
right. The intent
in it, then it you will be able to live with that, and you'll be able to grow from it.
Yeah.
But negative thoughts breed negative feelings.
You better say it.
Breed negative actions. And negative results.
Right.
So that was just two different ways of saying the same thing.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And life. It is wonderful that way, that maybe I won't learn from you, but maybe I'll learn from you.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's God's omnipresence. You don't always get everything at the same place, but you'll get it if you seek it.
That's right.
Very quickly, I want to acknowledge what we haven't. I see now who's drinking what. I guess Charlie, I think you and I are drinking Martha's 19 crimes, Martha's Shard.
Okay.
And if
Snoop Dogg
Snoop kept on saying, if Snoop came out, Martha had to come out with one, right?
His bestie, of course.
Exactly.
And Chance, you and our guest are, I believe, drinking these Chateau Saint Michelle sweet Riesling.
Yeah, and it's really sweet. I like it.
Yes.
Love it? Okay.
Yes. So a toast to.
Well, I've already been sipping.
I know. I was like, I didn't know what the rules were.
No, you can
drink or what?
We usually drink a lot earlier, so you can.
Okay,
cool. You can pat yourself on the back for being so engaging that I did not even pick up my glass.
Okay, cool.
But there you go.
I don't know what the rule is, but I was.
Yeah, there's been a time or two that Dad sat over there and he was like.
Cool. Yes. Well, this is good.
But yes, so Chance, really quick. I know you can just yell out kind of loud, but so what do you think about what we're talking about being confident and confident as opposed to arrogant and believing in yourself and all that, just.
No, I think it's excellent. I think everything you're saying is right on the spot. I think it applies to everything in life.
Right.
Oh, it does. Chance said he thinks it applies to everything in life.
It does. Just believe in yourself, because one of the things that we talked about, I'm just going to keep talking about last week, y'all.
Yes.
But one of the things that we talked about is what would make you not share a win. Because remember, and everybody kind of had a different answer to that, and what would make you not want to celebrate that win. And then when you have that win, how do you celebrate it? Because the things that are most meaningful to us are timestamps. So if you're not able to share that moment, are you going to miss that time? And how would you reward yourself. So people talk about, well, I don't necessarily want to put it out there because I don't want to be judged. You know, I don't necessarily want to put it out there because maybe I didn't think the thing I accomplished was that great. So somebody else has to toot your own horn. We talked about that. So I know there's a workshop for that too. You know,
there you go. I love that.
But you know, really, I mean, I think across all levels, it's just important to celebrate your wins. And even if it's not out loud, and for me, I say out loud is social media. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be in peace. It could be with your closest people, but you know, make sure that you do something for yourself so you remember that moment. You know, like, you know, I mentioned that one of, you know, years ago, you know, when I traveled, I was like, I'm buying a purse, you know, and I still have that purse. I remember that trip. That was my win, that I got to go there.
Absolutely.
You know, so and it doesn't have to be that. It could be minor. It could be a refrigerator magnet, you know, just something, some memorabilia for you to know that this is something that I accomplished. I think that's so important.
I was really moved when you said people are reluctant to celebrate their wins. That kind of took me aback for a second, actually, because I was kind of like, what? Why would? But then I thought about it. You know, if a person has been groomed to think down on themselves, and they won't celebrate their wins because they don't think they're worthy of them.
That's right.
You know, and
it's a big.
This activity that Charlotte's talking about is that we had everyone in our group at our workshop create a wins jar, right? I'm really big on celebrating wins. I'm someone that is I'm gonna get it done, and I move really fast. Constantly, okay, don't talk fast, slow down. I do everything really, really fast, right? Because in my mind, I'm trying to just get it done.
Right.
So with that being said, is the more I do, the more I want to do.
That's right.
And so sometimes I would get caught up in not remembering what I did or what I did accomplish.
That's right.
And so I started that about a couple years ago, and I started collecting my wins in a jar. And so we all have moments, and we're like, oh man, I didn't do this. I'm feeling down because I see my list still looks long, because my list is forever growing. Even today, I have a list at home, and I love to cross things off on my board. So I love that type of thing. So I have to remind myself it's okay and give myself grace. Yeah. And when I look into that jar and I grab that jar, and I can go back and then look at those wins, and then I also have that memory.
That's right.
So I encourage you guys to celebrate your wins and also capture your wins. Like, you can grab a jar or any type of thing you had. Now, if you come to a Women Who Collab workshop, and that's probably some stuff we'll give you to do, but you can create your own win jar. Just get a jar and just write all your wins in that. And then I encourage you that when it's a quiet day or the end of year, you go back and read that, because then you go back and you have those feelings. And like you said, from those feelings, right? Yeah. Then you're connected to it. Yeah. So always celebrate your wins.
I never thought about that. That's a good idea. I'm
so Dad, you have to get you. I'm
have to get you a win jar.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I can do that since I'm a guy, right?
Everyone could celebrate their wins, and I like to write them down, because it's kind of like you're saying it out loud, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we're saying affirmations, they don't tell you to go hum it. They tell you to speak it out loud. Or when you speak it, you hear it, and you start to believe it. And so when you write it, you see it. Right. So that's important.
And one of the things that happened that I made me laugh, because, you know, one lady was like going in. She her jar was filled. Absolutely. And so one lady says, we're doing wins and not goals, right? Because she's like, how can you have that many wins? But you know, when her win is her win. Her win is her win. So, you know, you have people who are very detail oriented. And so she's probably not that hard on herself versus me, who'd be like, I only got 3 wins. You know, I'm not, you know, because I may be a little bit more critical of myself, you know. So I think that's just, you know, it's important. I love that. That was a huge takeaway. So Dad,
wins is going to be this podcast.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Like I said, I would have never done this. I have to admit, I would have never ever done this on my own. So and it's not that I couldn't, it's just that I would not have, I can't, I know I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So this is a win. The miles that we have traveled doing this podcast is a win. But I'm also a person that sings. But
well, let's hear one.
Okay.
People know.
book.
Yeah.
Old folks saying,
Old folks say,
or just start with a number.
There goes your,
I'm
there goes your journal right
there
there.
goes my journal. Old folks sayings, you know,
Yeah.
and my sister and I always talk about that. Our mother had a saying for every situation,
Oh yeah.
and you know, the more she whoop you and say, the more go ahead and cry. The more you cry, the less you pay. So, or you know,
And
or,
look at,
you know,
don't
so
let the
just-
doors hit you where the good Lord
yes,
put you. There you
yeah.
go.
Yep,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
she had a saying for everything. So
We
that's,
don't hear those things as much anymore, right?
no,
And
we
it's
don't.
funny that from the grandmothers, and my husband has like a lot of them too. And my mother-in-law actually wrote a book similar to that. It's so important that we continue with those things. That's why I say someone needs to capture
I'm
those
gonna
Yeah,
have to
things.
talk to you about this.
transition
Have
those
you
things.
motivate me to
Yeah,
do
because
that?
Yeah,
These
Yeah.
kids won't hear those things. So if we're capturing those things,
for them.
then
Yeah.
we can
So maybe we
transition.
got to
We'll
have
have
Miss
to-
Rachel
we
Ray
can write
back.
that. We can write that
Yeah.
together. Yeah, that's a good idea. See, y'all, you can learn something anytime.
That's
And I-
collaboration,
Yeah, that's
folks.
collaboration.
We're collaborating right
And,
here today.
and although I'm a male, I'm collaborating with the women, and I am learning
Absolutely.
something. You know,
Now
Yeah.
we have spaces for men. I just prefer safe spaces for women because that's what I love. But hey, we do have to cross collab as well, right? When
Yes.
we have events, we need the men to come and carry stuff. We need security.
We need some strength. We need some biceps, some
That's right.
triceps.
that's right.
So
You
we're
know?
always looking for male volunteers.
Said Donna Ross said, you need muscles.
I know. Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
so we know we have Facebook and Instagram, but
Yes.
just one more time, maybe if somebody's tuned in
Yeah.
and want to know how to reach out and connect.
Yes. So you can actually also connect with myself. Again, my name is Rachel Ray. You can find me on Instagram at Shine, like the sun shine with Rachel Ray, because I believe I make everything shine. So you can come and shine with me.
Yeah.
Shine with Rachel Ray, and that's E.
Mhm.
And so from there, you can get all the connections to all my resources and all my websites.
Excellent.
Excellent. I was impressed. Like I told you, I had
great.
looked you up, and I was impressed.
I
before
was
you even
impressed
got
with
to
you
the studio.
guys.
So
Oh, how cool is
Yeah.
that?
this is you know, and you know, men, let's celebrate the women in our lives.
Yes.
Because I often say that I hold myself and my gender accountable a lot for where we are, because
Absolutely.
I hear a lot of men talking about women not wanting to follow, but we have ceased leading in a lot of ways. And the one thing that women have been excellent at is doing what needs to be done. That's what you
Absolutely.
said
Yeah,
early
get
on in the
done.
podcast, is doing what needs to be done. You know, be it you know, raise the kids, cook the meals, do whatever. They do what needs to be done.
Right.
And I watched my daughter do that. You know
I
what I'm
won't claim the cooking. I'm sorry. I have
Oh,
to
You
well.
don't know. See, I
well.
love to cook.
saying?
I won't
I
claim
will
that
cook.
one. I mean, I can, but I don't have to claim that one because my husband does that.
Okay,
so.
right.
Well, yeah, you know, and but it sounds like, and I'm sure there's things that he'll say, you know, but my wife, she knocks it out the park, you know.
Oh,
so,
absolutely. All
you know.
day, every day.
you know, and it is important for us to appreciate, you know, small things.
Absolutely.
You know, those wins you were talking about. It's important
Absolutely.
for us to appreciate small things, because when I wake up in the morning, and that's what I was going to say earlier. When I wake up in the morning, that's a win, because
Hello.
You better say it.
because
Say it
I've
loud.
been given another opportunity
Opportunity.
to redo some
Absolutely.
things. You know, I have I have family members that don't speak to all their children, and I'm blessed. I have a decent relationship with all my children and my grandchildren, but it wasn't always that way. You know, so I have to. I appreciate, you know, where my life has come. You know, I
Mhm.
appreciate the journey, and I'm looking forward to more of the journey. And I'll be 67 on the 24th, and
Ooh.
I'm going to be late for my funeral. So,
I know. I plan on it. I want to be
You know.
late.
you know,
Well,
y'all and Kim, y'all gonna be standing around going, where he's always late. Where is he?
I know.
So,
Right. Look at.
but
look at.
you know,
Heroes. All right. So with that being said, we got 3 minutes,
Yeah, yeah,
2.5,
2.5 minutes.
1.5 minutes.
yes.
Huh?
Oh.
Okay.
Rachel, thank you. I am so impressed, and
Oh,
and
sister,
and I really and I
oh,
seriously
yes.
I want the
Oh,
three
that's
of us to
okay.
get together and work on that
Absolutely.
that you know, what did you call it? I'm sorry. The sayings
The
and
sayings. I mean, we'll find something
Yeah,
kind
we'll
of cool.
find
We
something.
can't say it up here because somebody try to steal it from
Yeah.
us. So
Yeah.
we'll say it.
Yeah.
We got a top
Yeah.
secret,
Yes.
but we're
Yeah.
a safe place for your ideas. I'm just no.
so
And thank you guys for inviting me here as well. Again, you guys You can find me at Women Who Collab or Shine with Rachel Ray on Instagram.
Until
And she has an impressive following, you guys. Y'all really
yes,
gotta
she
check her
does.
out.
Yes, she does. She's an impressive
Oh, thank
lady.
you guys. So you guys.
And until next week, we'll be back. Same facts time, same facts channel. And I have to thank Kim for that saying because it's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And until then, Charlie, you want to go ahead and
Yeah,
take
you
us
gotta
out?
love yourself so you can know how to love somebody else.
There you
That's
go.
right.
We will be back next week, 7 p.m. and we're gonna work on that ish.
Yeah, I know, right? We out-ish.
Yes.
Bye.